Founded in 2015 by Niraj Singh, Ramanshu Mahor and Mohit Gupta, Spinny helps buy and sell pre-owned cars online. Sellers can schedule an inspection and get an offer for their car. Buyers can browse through the online inventory, view vehicle conditions, select a car and schedule a test drive. But the road to building a unicorn wasn't easy. Spinny is in fact the third startup Niraj has founded after the previous two folded. He said the experiences taught him to have a clear vision when starting up.
Clear takeaway was that whenever you are starting something, so you should have absolute clarity that why do you want to do this? What is the problem you are going to solve? Why that problem needs to be solved? And for whom that problem needs to be solved? So that clarity should be there. Of course, the business model and lots of other things will be figured out when you are on that journey. But at least high-level clarity should be there.
Niraj Singh grew up in Daltonganj, a town in Jharkhand, studied in Hindi medium and started conversing in English only a few years ago.
Coming from a small town like Daltonganj in Jharkhand, so then for my +1, +2 going to Ranchi, then came to Delhi to join IIT. So and then doing 2 startups before starting up Spinny. So if you look at the whole journey, so I was able to see the entire spectrum of the Indian society, and that really helped me in understanding the society, right? What really moves the society, and how does things really work? What kind of people are there? And for different people, the ambitions and their aspirations are different. So having a relatability to the entire spectrum of the society from one extreme to another, that was so basically that journey, and coming from that kind of background was very helpful in building that perspective.
Spinny has raised over 530 million from 34 institutional and 36 angel investors to date. It counts cricketer Sachin Tendulkar as its backer. Besides, it's also backed by Tiger Global, Avenir, General Catalyst, Axel, Elevation, Bloom, among others. Swiggy's founder Harsha Majeti has also invested in the company. Spinny last raised 283 million in November 2021 in a funding round led by Tiger Global at a valuation of 2.11 billion. But it took 4 years for the company to crack its first round of funding.
When you come up with something, so it takes time for the rest of the people to relate to your vision and understand the practicality of that. And in some cases that timeline might be few quarters, in some cases that might be few years. In my case, that was like close to 4 years. So we started Spinny in mid 2015, and we were able to close our Series A round of funding in April 19. So we took almost 4 years to close our first major round of funding. Of course, to raise that kind of funding, you need to showcase customer traction, the kind of value proposition you are offering to your customer and their acknowledgement, right? How strongly they are feeling about your offering, what kind of impact your offering or your value prop is bringing to their life. And once that is there, once people are able to see that, once people are able to relate to that, then of course with time you will start getting investor support also, and using those resources you can keep building. So that journey was very long, and there were multiple near-death situations for the company in that journey.
Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Bits to Billions. We're in conversation with the co-founder and CEO of Spinny. Niraj, thank you very much and welcome to Bits to Billions.
Thanks, Chandra. Happy to host you.
Good to be in your offices in Gurugram, but tell me about what it's been like the last few months, because it's been tough, the overall startup ecosystem and funding, and but how's life been like for you at Spinny? What has changed? What has not changed?
So from funding perspective, we are well funded, right? So, and we don't have such a runway problem or something like that. customer demand remains very strong. So whatever we did last December 21, December 22 is looking like at least 2.5x of that scale.
You're seeing 2.5x growth year on year.
Yeah, close to 2.5x. And this month, like August, right? So we are about to close the month, and we're expecting anywhere close to 13% growth this month on month growth. So the consumer demand is really very strong, right? And this growth is coming in spite of the fact that we are pushing very strongly for the improvement on the unit economics side. We have always been very mindful about our unit economics, right, and the quality of the business. On top of that, there is further push for the significant improvement in the unit economics. So in spite of those changes, right, and that kind of push from our side, we are seeing a very healthy growth.
When you say you're pushing for things on the unit economic side, that means have you cut down on burn? Have you cut down on expenses? What have you done to bring those down?
So we have not done any layoffs just to cut the cost. So we were very mindful about adding cost, adding capacity, because what we really want to ensure that we shouldn't be in any kind of situation where we have to lay off people just to cut the cost, right? So we are super sensitive about the kind of culture, the kind of environment we are providing to our people. That's very that's at the heart of the kind of culture we want to build, and then using that kind of culture and that kind of environment within the organization, the kind of quality and the kind of experience we want to deliver to our customers. So we were very mindful about building our teams, adding capacity in the team, adding our cost structures. So so few startups had to do some kind of cost cutting, and
Including some of your competitors?
and many people had to be laid off in various startups.
But you're saying you haven't.
Yeah, we haven't, and there are no such plans.
But will you still?
In fact, we are still hiring people, right? We are still adding people to the team every month. So if you go to LinkedIn and other hiring,
This would be in your product and tech functions, or even sales teams on the ground, and
everywhere.
you're adding them as well.
Almost in every function. Yeah, we are very basically focused about the efficiency now, right? So earlier the focus was that we have to solve for both growth and at the same time unit economics and efficiencies, right? So focus on the growth is still there, but the focus on efficiency and unit economics has become even more now, right? So whatever we were targeting, because we know that whatever we have, right? So we have to be ready for the worst case, right? So whatever kind of a scale, whatever scale we want to hit, whatever quality of business we want to build, right? So the quality of the business, the scale of the business, in both terms, whatever we want to achieve, we have to be ready for the worst case. Whatever funding we have, whatever resources we have some kind of a strategy that with available resources we are able to achieve those milestones, both in terms of scale and in terms of the quality of the business. So focus on the unit economics and efficiency, right, is even more now, and the progress on those fronts we have started expediting, but that does not mean that the focus from the growth is completely gone now, right? So in a way we are trying to basically strike a balance, and to be honest, we were already in this mode. This has nothing to do with the change in the funding environment.
Got it. But will you still continue to spend on your brand ambassadors? A lot of startups face flack for spending huge amounts on Bollywood stars and cricketers and then laying off employees. And you have the likes of Sachin Tendulkar and PV Sindhu as your brand ambassadors. So is that an expense that you want to make?
So if you look at our execution, right, so we did our first brand marketing campaign in March, April, May this year with IPL 22, and the spend was very limited. We did only Hotstar, and before that we have never done any brand marketing. So all of our growth so far has come from word of mouth. It's all organic. So the kind of quality, the kind of experience we are delivering, the word of mouth is really very strong, and it's just getting even more compounded. So the brand marketing campaign was more about setting the narrative, right, solving the brand perception. The objective was not to solve the growth through that brand marketing campaign, right? And anyways, our financials were very much, well planned. We were already running a very tight ship.
So that means we will still see Sachin ads and Sindhu ads.
We are continuing with our brand ambassadors.
That means you have enough money in the bank to do this. But Niraj, it's interesting that you're sounding optimistic at a time when the used car space, the second-hand car space, is coming under pressure. Not just in India, but globally. I mean, if you look at public companies like Carvana, Kazoo, their stocks have come down significantly. In India, car trades stock is, below IPO price, I think. And then you've also seen the pressure at Cars 24, where they are, cutting costs significantly. So, I mean, how is Spinny insulated when everybody is basically seeing pain?
So, different people were following different business models and presence in lots of markets. We are focused only in India, and we have a really solid business model which really solves the real pain points of the customer at an absolute level. And the consumer sentiment, the consumer demand is really very strong. And the structure of the Indian used car market is very different from developed economies. So there is no there is no oversupply situation here. Demand supply gap is always very large, has been very large, right? So there is a lot of pent up demand in this society. If you look at the car sales numbers, so since 2012, 2013, the new car market has not really grew the way it was expected. So, and if you look at the per capita personal passenger car penetration, that number is just 25, right? So very difficult to comment on the exact number, but on the basis of some reports, it should be anything between 25 to 30, right? So the per capita personal passenger car penetration is really low. People are getting more and more disposable income, and that aspiration is there. People are willing to spend more on their experience. At the same time, because of COVID, right, people were reminded that cars are not just about moving from point A to point B. It's also about some kind of peace of mind, some kind of reliability on top of the experience and aspiration aspect. So there is a lot of pent-up demand in the country as a whole. So the used car market will keep growing. It is expected that over the next 4 or 5 years, the annual growth rate should be anywhere between 10 to 13%. So that is the kind of growth we are expecting in the used car market. So consumer demand is really strong, right? So structurally, our market is very different from.
So what's helped you is you didn't go into. We saw many people, expanding overseas. Then there was also a huge offline play, and they also went into adjacent areas, not just consumer to consumer selling and buying.
So we believe that the core problem of the category is like the problem customer were facing regarding the quality of the car, regarding the transparency. And having a seamless process where they can buy the car really seamlessly in a very straightforward and confident manner. The car, even the used car buying experience should be similar to like buying a new car, right? You shouldn't be worried about the quality, the history, the reliability, or if anything goes wrong, then who is going to take the accountability. So that kind of confidence, surety, and at the same time straightforwardness should be there, right? So our focus has always been there.
Without spamming customers.
Without spamming, without changing aggressively, right? Without hard selling, without mis-selling, right? So solve for these pain points in a real way. Build that capability. Of course, that intent should be there, but that intent is not good enough. You need that capability also, so that you are in a position to deliver the desired level of quality and experience. So we have always been focused on that part, that we should be solving that at an absolute level, and we should be able to reach a state, right, where there is absolute control over the quality and experience, and that is not getting compromised once you start scaling properly.
Right.
So, and once you are in that kind of position, that kind of a state, right, then the smaller problems or adjacencies, right? So we believe that those are low-hanging fruits, right, and simpler problems to solve. So we believe that first we should be solving the harder problems, right? And once you have solved the harder problems, then basically grabbing the low-hanging fruits is very easy, right?
Right. But I'm going to come to the part where you spoke about how, you're still seeing consumption that's very strong, which is interesting. I mean, passenger car sales, we saw, I think July saw huge numbers.
Yeah.
But there is also concern about, inflation, people cutting back on discretionary spend, on how they will only spend on what is necessary and, what is not nice to have.
Right.
So how is that going to impact you?
So, in case of inflation or whenever there is any kind of recession, so used car market is always
It kind of,
so
because
many-
people would rather spend on a
many
used
people
car
from the
than a
new
new
car
one.
segment shift to the used car segment. So the category has been kind of recession proof. Right? That is the perception about the category, and that is proven again and again. Let's see what happens this time.
But Neeraj, overall people are moving to EVs, and this is something that the government is also pushing in a big way. How will this impact your business?
Our read is that this should help our business because in EVs the complexity of the machinery is not that much as in the case of internal combustion engines. So the dependence on the spare parts will not be that high. So the player like us will become more and more relevant in the market because then it will be just about the transparency and the used customer experience, customer support, having the brand recognition.
Are you already building a thesis for EVs within Spinny? Like, are you building perhaps
Yeah, we are
a
basically-
platform to buy and sell? I mean, we are still far away from used EV vehicles,
Exactly.
but
We still have some time. But yeah, when the time arrives, we will be ready by then.
you don't see it as a risk to your business.
Very difficult to say anything with 100% surety, to be honest. But our guess is that it should help our business.
But will
if
it-
you look at
will it
platforms in the US, used car platforms in the US, EVs are trading on those platforms.
But will it mean that your mainstay ICE cars, it will, or your petrol cars, it will kind of move to a B2C play rather than a C2C play, where these cars are traded with perhaps companies or corporates who might want to use them?
OEMs have different priorities. They have to keep reinventing. They have to keep basically doing better and better research, better engine, better transmission. In case of EVs, better fuel cells, all those things, right? So their focus is to how to keep building better and better cars, more and more efficient cars. So that is where they want to focus, right? So and we have some advantage because of that. Right?
Got it. So do you remember the first Spinny customer?
Yeah.
Which year? Who was it, and how did you close it?
He was a dear friend. So basically, one of my co-founders from my previous startups, and he purchased XUV 500. So that was the first car we sold, and that was in last week of June 15.
Okay, and now you have what, 5,000 cars every month on your platform?
Yeah, we are selling close to 500.
And
5,000.
is that how you got your first car as well, through the app?
So Spinny. So recently, I purchased basically luxury car from a Spinny, right? So I was looking for a car with very high torque, and suddenly I noticed that so the kind of car I need. So there is a car already on the platform. This just came, and before anybody grabs it, right, I should just buy it.
So you bought it.
Of course, there is no special deal for founder or employee of the company, right? So whatever is the listed price and whatever the deal is, right? So it is same for everyone. So I immediately took the test ride and purchased the car the very same day. This was 5 months ago.
Okay.
Yeah.